My name is Alexa Hartman, and I'm 38 years old. If you had asked me a month ago what my future looked like, I would have given you a simple picture. Nothing Instagram perfect, no dream board, just steady. A small house that actually feels like home. My 10-year-old son laughing in the living room. My boyfriend's car in the driveway when I pull in after work. A life where problems are things you fix, not things you pretend don't exist. For a long time, I thought I had that, or at least I was close. The night everything shifted didn't look like the beginning of a family war. There was no storm, no screaming match, no slammed doors. It started with balloons, paper plates, and a box. My son, Noah, had been counting down to his 10th birthday like it was Christmas, a movie premiere, and the Super Bowl all combined. For months, he'd been talking about this gaming console, watching YouTube reviews, comparing specs I didn't understand, saving his allowance in this little metal tin he kept under his bed. My boyfriend Daniel and I had decided we'd go all in. The console, 2 games, an extra controller. We didn't have money to burn, but this wasn't just a toy to him. It was proof that sometimes, if you work and wait and save, you actually get the thing you wanted. We spent around $550 on the whole setup. I double-checked the receipt twice before folding it neatly and slipping it into my important stuff folder in the kitchen drawer. That's who I am, the one who keeps track of things. The party itself was small. Family, a couple of Noah's friends from school, 2 kids from our street. I'd strung up a crooked happy birthday banner in the living room, and Daniel had grilled hot dogs out back like it was a national event. By the time we finished cake and presents, Noah was vibrating with that sugar and joy buzz only kids seem to find. He was standing in our living room, proudly showing his friends the console box sitting on the coffee table, still sealed. "We'll set it up after everyone leaves," I kept reminding him, laughing. "Let it stay pretty for a few pictures before you smudge it with Cheeto fingers." He rolled his eyes, but I could tell he was just happy. The real kind of happy. The kind you can feel in your chest. I was in the kitchen, stacking paper plates, when I heard the front door open and a familiar voice call out, "We're here." My older sister, Melissa. "Hey," I called back. "Living room, you're late." I stepped out of the kitchen in time to see her sweep in with her daughter. Chloe is 13 now. She used to be the kid who would crawl into my lap with sticky fingers and ask for one more bedtime story. Lately, she's different. All sharp eyeliner and rolled eyes and a permanent, bored slouch. Melissa swears it's just a phase. She also swears that kids need to express themselves, which is apparently code for, I don't say no because I don't like conflict. Daniel passed behind me with a tray of drinks, giving my hand a quick squeeze. His quiet little breathe was almost automatic at this point whenever my family showed up. I smiled anyway. "You made it." Traffic was insane, Melissa said, like she was arriving at a red carpet event, not her nephew's small backyard party. "Where's the birthday boy?" "In the living room," I said, showing off his present. I turned to grab more napkins from the counter. That's when it happened. A massive crash, sharp and violent, cut through the chatter. The room went silent. Every parent knows that silence. The kind where you can feel in your bones that something very bad just happened. I dropped the napkins and ran. Noah was standing in the middle of the living room, frozen. His friends were in a semicircle behind him, eyes wide. The console box, his console box, was on the floor in front of him, crushed in on one side, like something had taken a bite out of it. Cardboard split. You could see the plastic inside, cracked at the edges. Chloe was standing over it, plastic baseball bat in hand. She had this smirk tugging at the corner of her mouth, like it was all a joke she wasn't sure she should laugh at yet. My heart did this weird drop and surge thing in my chest. "What happened?" I asked, even though I already knew. Chloe shrugged, adjusting her grip on the bat. "It was just a prank. I didn't think it was that fragile." Noah's face crumpled. Not a few tears, not a wobbling lip. He broke, full body sobbing. The kind that rips out of kids when something truly shatters for them for the first time. His hands flew to his face, shoulders shaking. One of his friends reached for him and then pulled back, unsure. The room hummed with that awful buzzing quiet. Melissa strolled in from the hallway behind me, coffee cup in hand. She took in the scene, the broken box, the bat, my son crying. And she laughed, like actually laughed, a short, sharp bark of amusement. "Oh, sweetie," she said, stepping closer to Noah. "It's just a toy. Boys are so sensitive about their gadgets." I felt something inside me twist. Not snap, not yet. Twist. I looked at Noah, crumbled around his tears. looked at Chloe, still smirking like she was waiting for someone to tell her she'd pulled off the prank of the year, looked at my sister, who thought this was nothing. Daniel came up beside me, his presence solid at my shoulder. He didn't say anything, but I could feel his anger in the way his jaw tightened. She just destroyed his birthday present, I said slowly. Melissa rolled her eyes. It was an accident. She was playing around. You're not seriously upset about this, are you? Chloe shrugged again. I just hit the box. I didn't know it would break. She hit it with a bat, I said, turning to Melissa, as a joke. Oh my God, Melissa said. Everyone is so serious these days. It's just stuff, Lex. You can replace stuff. I stared at her. Replace stuff. I thought about Noah sneaking into my room at night to show me the latest review video, about him counting his allowance, about me staying up late on my laptop, scrolling through deals and calculating if I could swing the extra controller now or wait for next month's paycheck. Replace stuff. You learn a lot about people in the moments they think don't matter. You know what? I said, my voice coming out calm, too calm. You're probably right. We are too sensitive. Melissa's shoulders relaxed. She smiled, relieved. Exactly. Thank you. I knew you'd... I'll send you the receipt, I said, so you can replace it. Her smile dropped like someone cut the string. What? Your daughter broke it, I said. You can pay for a new one. I'm not paying for that, she snapped. It was an accident. Swinging a bat at a box isn't an accident, I replied. We'll let small claims court decide if it counts as one. Her eyes widened. You cannot be serious right now. I bent down, lifting the ruined box. The console inside was clearly trashed, screen cracked, plastic casing visibly split. Pieces rattled when I shifted it. Noah's sobs sounded smaller now, like they were draining him. I wanted to drop everything and wrap him up in a hug. Instead, I turned and carried the wrecked box toward my bedroom. I needed it out of his sight before he had to look at it long enough to memorize the damage. Behind me, Melissa's voice climbed higher, sharper. Alexa, family doesn't sue family over kid stuff. Family, I said, without turning around, also doesn't let their kids destroy other people's property and laugh about it. She grabbed Chloe by the arm. We're leaving, come on. She slammed the front door so hard behind her that a picture frame rattled and fell off the hallway wall. In the living room, a couple of parents started gathering their kids. The party deflated like a balloon with a slow leak. No one said much. They didn't have to. By the time the last guest left, Noah was locked in his room, Daniel was stacking abandoned cups in tight, angry piles, and I was sitting on the edge of my bed with the console box open in front of me. It wasn't salvageable, not even close. I took photos. The busted casing, the cracks, the shattered bits of plastic. I laid out the receipt next to it and took another photo. Are you really going to do it? Daniel asked from the doorway. I looked up at him. Do what? Whatever you meant when you said small claims court. I exhaled slowly. The weight of the day pressed down on my chest. She laughed, Dan. My son was crying, and she laughed, and then told him he was too sensitive and told me to get over it. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, eyes soft but steady. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just making sure you're okay with where this goes. I thought about all the times I'd let things slide. The family jokes at my expense. The way Melissa shrugged when Chloe was rude to waiters, teachers, me. She'll grow out of it. The way my parents always turned to me to smooth things over, to apologize first, to keep the peace. I was tired. I'm done teaching Noah that family can hurt you, and it's your job to swallow it because that's just how they are, I said. If he broke something at their house, I'd pay for it. This is no different. Daniel studied me for a moment, then nodded. Okay, then we do it right. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee and my laptop open. My friend Liz, who works as a paralegal, talked me through what to write. A demand letter, she said over the phone. Be specific, itemize everything, give her a deadline, keep it calm and factual, no emotional language. I wrote, on date, during Noah Hartman's 10th birthday party, I listed the console price, the games, the extra controller. The total, $716. I added the limited edition carrying case Noah's grandparents had sent separately. I added the HDMI cable that had cracked. I added the cost of the certified mail I was about to send. Final total, $847. I read the letter twice before printing it. My hands shook a little as I signed my name. I wasn't used to choosing conflict, I was used to choosing quiet. At the post office, the clerk weighed the envelope and put the little green certified mail sticker on it. Signature required? She asked. Yes, I said. She stamped, clicked, tore, handed me the receipt with the tracking number. As I walked back to my car, the envelope already on its way to my sister's mailbox, something strange settled over me. Not triumph. Not exactly fear. Just this heavy, electric silence in my chest that felt like the moment right before a storm breaks. For the first time in my life, I hadn't backed down. Now I just had to live with whatever came next. The certified letter was delivered a few days later. I knew that because I received the notification on my phone, signed by Melissa Hartman. For the next few days, nothing happened. I didn't hear from her. My mom didn't call. No texts, no apologies, just silence. The kind of silence that leaves a space in your chest where noise used to be. Then my phone buzzed in the middle of dinner. Mom. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then answered. Hi, Mom. What is wrong with you? She demanded, her voice sharp and accusing. You're actually suing your sister over this? You're taking this to court? Over a game console? I leaned back in my chair, trying to breathe through the growing pressure in my head. She destroyed it, Mom. It wasn't an accident. She swung a bat at it and laughed about it. You know, Melissa doesn't have that kind of money. You're willing to destroy your relationship over $800. Mom's voice was rising now, cracking at the edges. She didn't understand. She never did. Mom, I'm asking for her to replace something she destroyed. If Noah had done that at their house, I'd pay for it. That's what grown-ups do. I tried to keep my voice steady, but I could feel the heat in my cheeks. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her how tired I was of being the one who had to smooth everything over, how sick I was of being the family's doormat. Well, maybe you should have thought about that before sending a legal letter. That's not family, Alexa. She was almost crying now. Family doesn't do this. We don't do this to each other. No, I said firmly. Family should do better. Families should be careful with each other's things and respect each other's time and feelings. Melissa made a choice, Mom. She could have apologized. She could have replaced it, but she didn't. Mom sighed deeply. You're making a huge mistake. I don't think so. I hung up, my hands trembling a little. I tried not to think about the anger and the hurt in her voice, but it stuck with me. The guilt weighed me down for the rest of the night. How could I have come to this point? How did we let a bat hit a gaming console become this? But deep down, I knew I couldn't back down now. A few hours later, Melissa called. Are you insane? She screamed as soon as I picked up. You actually sent papers to my job, to my workplace? I have a reputation, you know. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I stood up from the couch, pacing across the room. It's called serving papers, Melissa. You don't get to destroy people's things and then laugh about it. I'm not letting this go. You're really doing this, aren't you? Her voice was growing shriller by the second. You don't get to bully me, Alexa. We're family. We are family, I said calmly, my throat tight. But family doesn't get to destroy property and laugh about it. You destroyed Noah's birthday present, and now you have to replace it. I'm not paying you a dime, she shouted. This is ridiculous. You will pay me, I said, trying to keep my voice even. Or we'll let the court decide. This isn't just about a toy. It's about teaching Noah that when people break things, they pay for them. That's what responsibility is. That's what boundaries are. You can't do this. You just can't, she stammered. It's extortion. Extortion would be threatening you. This is just asking for reimbursement. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. Then, with a forceful exhale, she spat, I'm getting a lawyer. I let her hang up without another word. The following days were full of tension and dread. The phone rang constantly. I started saving every voicemail, every text from my mom, from Melissa. Everyone was in uproar. Everyone was making me the villain. 2 weeks passed. No payment, no response. Just an empty silence that gnawed at my insides. I filed the small claims paperwork. A few days later, the sheriff came to the house with the court papers. He was polite, efficient. I'll need you to sign here, he said, handing me the forms. I glanced at them for a moment, then signed. The finality of it hit me. This wasn't some threat anymore. This was happening. The sheriff went to serve Melissa, and just like that, the gloves were off. The phone rang that evening. Did you seriously have the sheriff show up at my job? Melissa was unhinged now. Her voice sounded wild, more desperate than I'd ever heard her. Everyone saw it, Alexa. Everyone. It's called due process, Melissa. I kept my voice level. You had 2 weeks to pay. I don't know what you thought I was going to do, but this is it. You don't pay, I'm following through. She started yelling, crying at the same time, and I just stood there, silent, letting it wash over me. I wasn't getting pulled back into her drama, not this time. The next few weeks were a blur of calls, texts, and emails. No apologies, no remorse, just accusations and threats. My mom called and texted at least 5 times a day, leaving me guilt-laden voicemails about how this isn't you and you're tearing the family apart. But I couldn't care anymore. The court date was set. I asked Daniel if he would come with me. His only response was, "Of course, I'm with you, Lex. Whatever happens." When the day finally arrived, the room at the courthouse was everything I feared it would be. Cold, sterile, full of people waiting for their turn in front of the judge. The smell of bad coffee and stale paper. We were just another number on a busy docket, but to me, it felt like the whole world was watching. Melissa showed up late. I saw her standing at the back of the room, her eyes red, her shoulders tight with anger. She didn't even acknowledge me when she entered. She just sat down, slamming her purse onto the floor, her face twisted in disbelief. "Case 52, Hartman v. Hartman," the bailiff called, and we both stood. My heart raced. I told the judge everything. The birthday party, the damage, the refusal to pay, the sheriff serving papers, the evidence. Melissa blustered through her defense, a mix of denial and excuses. "It was just a prank, a joke gone wrong. We didn't mean for it to happen." The judge didn't buy it. He was calm, no nonsense, flipping through the photos I had presented. "So the plaintiff claims that your daughter intentionally struck the gaming console with a bat?" the judge asked, raising an eyebrow. "Yes," I said, nodding. "There's no question about it. She hit it on purpose." "And the defendant is asking for reimbursement for the damage done," the judge continued. "Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor," I answered. "Well," the judge said, glancing at Melissa's defense, "being family does not erase property damage. If anything, families should be more careful with each other's property." Melissa's face turned an angry shade of red, but I didn't flinch. Not this time. The judge went over the numbers, adding up the total damages, including the filing fee. He turned to me. "Judgment for the plaintiff. Defendant pays $791. The service fee is split by court standards." I couldn't breathe. Couldn't even process what just happened. But the court was already moving on to the next case. Melissa sat there, stunned, speechless. For the first time since the party, I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel bad. I felt vindicated. I left the courthouse with Daniel by my side, and we didn't say much on the drive home. There was a strange quiet in the air, something like relief, but also a heavy kind of finality. For the first time, I didn't feel the crushing weight of second-guessing. I had done what I knew I had to do. When we walked in the front door, Noah was still in his room. I could hear the soft sound of his video game from behind his closed door. His console wasn't a new one yet, but the time was coming. Daniel squeezed my hand, and I gave him a small smile. "We did it." "Yeah, we did," he said, his voice steady but tired. I couldn't shake the image of my sister's face when the judgment was read aloud. Her shock, the humiliation. I knew it had hit her harder than she expected. She probably never thought I would actually go through with it. Maybe she thought I was bluffing. But this wasn't a game anymore. It was about what I was teaching Noah, that standing up for yourself mattered, that boundaries, even with family, mattered. It was about showing him that things don't get to be broken just because someone thinks it's okay, just because they're family. That night, when Noah came downstairs for dinner, he asked the same thing he'd asked before. "Is Aunt Melissa going to jail?" I paused, my fork halfway to my mouth. I had expected this question. "Nobody," I said carefully. "But she has to pay for what she broke. That's just what happens when you break something. It doesn't matter who it is. If you break something, you have to make it right." He seemed to understand, nodding quietly. "Okay," he said, taking a bite of his food. Later that night, when we were settling in, I got a text from my mom. It wasn't a long message, just a simple, almost defeated line. "Melissa's been crying all afternoon. She says she can't afford to pay." I didn't respond immediately. The emotions from the day were still fresh, but the truth was already in my mind. I'd made my decision. I wasn't backing down. If Melissa couldn't afford to pay, that wasn't my responsibility. She had her chance. 2 weeks later, the garnishment orders came through. The first payment was small, just under $120, but it was a start. The system had done its job. I had done my job. Melissa was about to find out just how serious I was, and that was the moment it really hit me, how strange this whole situation was. This wasn't just about money. It wasn't about a broken console. It was about me finally saying no, about finally making my family see that they couldn't walk all over me anymore. I spent the next few weeks gathering the evidence for my garnishment request, checking and double checking everything. The court system might have been working for me, but the emotional toll was another thing altogether. Every time I saw my mom's name on my phone, I felt that familiar weight of guilt, but I refused to let it stop me. This wasn't about guilt, this was about accountability. One night, as I sat at the kitchen table looking over the garnishment details, Noah walked in and sat next to me, his eyes tired. He'd been quieter since the whole incident, but there was still something in his face that made me proud. He wasn't bitter, he wasn't angry, he was understanding. "Mom," he said quietly, fiddling with a pen on the counter, "did you have to do all of this? The court stuff?" I sighed and put down my papers. "Yeah, buddy, I did. You see, when something goes wrong, when someone does something bad, there are consequences. It's not easy, but it's the right thing to do." He nodded slowly. "I get it," he said after a moment. "So, it's like when you say you don't let anyone push you around?" I smiled softly, ruffling his hair. "Exactly. It's about standing up for yourself. No one gets to take advantage of you just because they're family. They should treat you better than that." His eyes brightened for a moment, like he understood the weight of it all. "Okay, Mom." It wasn't a grand speech. It wasn't some magical lesson. But in that moment, I knew that Noah had learned what I'd hoped. He was learning that boundaries weren't just things you set to protect yourself from others. They were things you set to protect the people you love, too. A few weeks later, the garnishment payments started coming in regularly. My sister, who used to pride herself on keeping up appearances, had no choice but to deal with the reality of the situation. And in the process, she was forced to learn some hard lessons herself. I wasn't sure whether to feel sympathy or something else entirely, but it didn't matter anymore. The system had worked. One evening, I got another message from my mom. This time, it was a bit different. "Melissa said she's starting a payment plan. Will you talk to her?" I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. "I don't think I'm ready to talk to her yet, but thank you for letting me know." I wasn't ready. Not yet. Maybe never. I didn't know. What I did know was that, for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. The kind of peace you get when you stop trying to be everything for everyone else. The first full garnishment payment finally came through a few months later, just as I'd calculated. By then, my son had fully moved on. He'd spent more time with his new console than I ever thought was possible. The sound of him laughing with his friends as they played together filled the house with the noise it had been missing for so long. I couldn't even remember the last time my sister had called. My mom had stopped trying to arrange family reunions for us, likely because everyone knew it would be too awkward. The silence was deafening at times, but also a relief, a final, painful closure. Then, the strangest thing happened. I was sitting at my desk answering emails when I saw the notification, "Friend request from Chloe Hartman." I stared at the screen for a moment, my heart doing that strange little flip it always did when I thought of my niece. It felt like a lifetime ago since I'd seen her. Since the birthday party. She was 15 now. The photo was different. Her face, older. She'd always been a beautiful kid, but now there was something about her that seemed different. Something sadder, something more grown up. I hovered over the accept button, but after a long moment, I just clicked ignore. Maybe someday we'd have that conversation, maybe not. But for now, I needed the distance. It's been almost a year since that day at the courthouse. A year since the broken gift and the broken family ties. I can't say things are completely healed, but for the first time, I'm not afraid to take the steps that need to be taken, even if it means standing alone. Noah's 11th birthday came around this year. We had another small party, just the same few close friends, no extended family, no drama, no broken things. As we sat around the cake, Noah looked up at me, his eyes wide with gratitude. "Thanks for fixing it, Mom," he said. "For fixing the console and everything." I smiled, my heart swelling. "Of course, buddy. I'll always fix things when they break. But sometimes things break in ways that can't be fixed. And that's okay too." He didn't seem to understand what I meant at first, but I saw the light in his eyes. He was learning. And me, I was learning too. Life has its broken moments, its broken things. But that doesn't mean we have to let it stay broken forever. Sometimes you fix what you can and let go of what you can't.